Welcome to the podcast Emotional Intelligence, your greatest asset and key to success. I'm your host, Dr. Jami Carlacio, coming to you weekly from the Greater New Haven, Connecticut area. As a positive intelligence, or PQ coach, I'm committed to helping people develop a mindset and an approach to life that regards problems as situations that help us learn and grow. Mental fitness is like a gym for our mind. The more we work out, the stronger we become. That strength is our inner sage. PQ is a way of being and doing in the world that enables us to develop and sustain a positive relationship with ourselves and others, at home, at work, and everywhere in between. Please subscribe to this podcast and tap the like button, making the podcast visible to more people who can enjoy the benefits of PQ. And now, here's the show. And today on our podcast, the last installment of Awareness, Acceptance, and Action, I have with me a great PQ coach named Demetra Moore. Demetra is a coach, a trainer, and a public speaker with a passion for helping clients reach their highest potential. This is a love that she discovered over a decade ago while working as a mutual fund trader for a Fortune 500 company. That's a bit of a switch. Demetra eventually made the choice to explore opportunities that started her own firm, Moore Out of Life, Inc. Moore sharpened her coaching skills and became a certified professional coach and an energy leadership master practitioner, which I'm excited to learn more about, at the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, or IPEC. After graduating from IPEC, Demetra joined the International Coaching Federation, where she earned the Professional Certified Coach credential. Welcome, Demetra. I am very, very glad to see you today. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure, indeed. I'm really grateful that we met. Demetra and I met because we are in the same cohort to do advanced training in positive intelligence. So first of all, Demetra, I'm very curious about the thing I said.
The Energy Leadership Master Practitioner?
Yeah, that.
Simply put, there is one of the top 5, I want to say top 5 assessments according to Forbes that is used to pretty much, I'm trying to think of a simplified way to use it without all the big terms, right? But it's an attitudinal assessment. So it's not like DISC or Myers-Briggs or Hogan or any of those. It takes a snapshot of your attitude today. Oh. And it also shows like the flaws or I'll say challenges that you're having and how you show up. So much like the PQ assessment, it's not like labeling you like you are a judge or you are a level 1, if I were referring to the Energy Leadership Index. It's more of making you aware of how your attitude impacts how you show up day to day and teaching you skill sets on how to see the levels of how you show up. Like, I guess simply put, our saboteurs could potentially be lower levels because it kind of takes you to a place where it's enabling you to show up in your best light. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, sometimes the saboteurs could work in your favor if I were speaking from an ELI perspective, which is the energy leadership. Because if you're sick, you may need some, that level of protection to show up. Or you're caught in a challenging situation and you may need to protect yourself. So it's not all quote unquote good or bad, but it's differences between both assessments, but which is why I'm here, because I like both of them. And I think they both could be definitely used. And I'll say my group of people that I work with are leaders. And I think it could help them, especially new and emerging leaders, becoming more mentally fit. And then once they get there, I can say, okay, this is how you're showing up. How do you want to work on this? And then we can gauge it from there. But I love them both equally.
That makes a lot of sense. And you said something really important that I caught in there, and that is how you show up. And I think one of the things I like about PQ, and which has helped me transform, is how I show up to life, how I show up to myself, how I show up to others. So that seems to me to be the key.
Right.
Once you know, like you're aware of how you've been showing up, that may not be as skillful or as helpful.
Right.
Say, okay, this is what I've been doing and I can't change the past. And I did what I could with what I had. And then you take action.
Right.
And so now that leads me into, I know you had spoken to me before that you have a client and you can really show us how awareness, acceptance, and action takes place in your client.
Yes. This was interesting, as you know, as I shared with you when we initially spoke about, of course, doing the podcast. This particular client has been wrestling with mental health for years. So this is nothing new. This client currently takes medication for it. And I offer this opportunity to her. She gladly accepted. And when we did our check-in, I want to say around week 2, that was the week of the judge, if I'm remembering. I want to say it's week 2.
Uh-huh.
And this client, I asked her, I said, how is the week going? What challenges, if any, have you come across? And she said, I just want to let you know, I've been going to therapy for several years. I take, my meds. But what I will tell you is this is the most simplified way that I've understood what was happening with me. And she said, I have been self-sabotaging myself for years, and it's been the judge. And she said, it makes me sad that I've allowed that to happen, but it makes me happy that I'm aware that is happening. And, she was sharing about how she's been working on mental fitness. And this is just week 2. So we know she's just trying to build her routine.
Uh-huh.
But she said, Demetra, I'm going to keep working on, of course, doing my 15 minutes a day and going into the PQ gym to continue to get more reps in. I don't know how to completely manage the judge yet, but I'm feeling stronger the more and more I keep working at it. And I'm aware when the self-sabotage is coming. And she said, I've been taking 5, or I'll just go and say, I can't make a decision right now. I need to do it later. And I must say, Jami, after that conversation, I hung up happy for her, because all of the years with all of the, the talk from, of course, the mental health industry, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but for her to hear it in layman's terms and be able to actually process what that is, I think it says a lot for the PQ program.
Yes, indeed. And somebody who's been through therapy herself, I found that the PQ coaching program just kind of skyrocketed me into a different dimension of mental health. I mean, I don't think about running to a therapist every time I have a problem, because I don't think of them as problems anymore. I'm
Right.
thinking opportunity for growth. What
Right.
can we learn from this? And as Shirzad reminds us, what's the gift, right? There's a
Right.
gift in this. Every time you feel like you've got a setback, then look for the gift. I had a
Right.
friend that always used to tell me that when I would complain, and I would say, well, I don't see a gift, but now I do.
Mhm.
So I'm really amazed that your client got this in the second week.
Right. And she's been seeing coaches on and off, therapists for years.
Mhm.
And she would typically just quit. She would just say, oh, it's not working. It's not working. And when we spoke, I asked her to please go into this with an open mind, try not to judge the program, just try it out. See what happens. You have nothing to lose. And she was very excited about it. And I checked her progress last Friday before the new modules came out this week. And she and I will get together this week, but she's still thriving with her PQ reps. So things are going well.
Yeah. And when you talk about the PQ reps, I noticed that she sounds like she's really doing the program. Like she's not just sort of, okay, I joined it, now I know who my judge is, but she's going to the mental fitness gym.
Right. She is showing up and answering the questions and all of those things. So I'm just excited about the work that she's doing.
Yeah, I would love to meet her. It sounds like it's been a huge transformation for her. So
Yes.
what other kinds of actions has she taken besides going to the PQ gym? Because if this is awareness, acceptance, and action, she took the best important action by going to PQ and learning these principles, but
Right.
what else has she done?
She told me during her day when she feels the judge showing up.
Mhm.
And she said, if I feel it, I won't make a decision, especially for work or just in life, period. I'll just stop and say, I need to take 5. I need to own this moment so I won't self-sabotage myself. And she said, I'll go and do reps so I can get my mindset clear to be able to move forward in a way that's helpful. She also started asking for help around her home. She has a family member that's living with her that has some health challenges, whereas the judge was telling her these people don't want to help you. So she started seeking out help to get around the house so she can get things done, which of course allows her to do some self-care of things that she just was not doing before. And those were the 2 big ones that she started doing that she shared. And I mean, I know I've had to help with, family members who've been ill. That can be a lot when you're working a full-time job and you have other things going on, and this person now lives with you. She said it's just been a time of change, but being able to ask for help and not feel like people are not going to help you because the judge says you're not worthy of help, to take that time to, collect your thoughts and take better care of yourself has been what she's been raving about.
Wow, I would rate that too.
Yeah,
The self-care issue is huge. And I know as a woman, I'm so used to caring for other people
right.
that comes to taking care of myself, I don't make enough time for that. But I do now. I do now.
Yes,
I'm a baseball umpire and I go line dancing and I do all kinds of fun things for myself.
right.
Yeah. It just changes my whole mental outlook, there are no
It
more
does.
clouds in the sky.
It does. I know for me, as we embark on this study and learn the advanced portion of the PQ program, it's definitely been helpful to me in regards to stepping back, taking that pause, remembering the gift that we can use in there to continue to help us move forward and to find additional opportunities has definitely been helpful in how I show up every day.
Yeah. Yeah. There again is that showing up, showing up. I want to just go back to therapy for a minute. Uh, One thing that people may or may not realize about coaching is that coaching isn't therapy.
Right.
Because with therapy, the way that it's been taught to me when I was in my coaching training is therapy might take you back and look at what happened before and try to process a lot of the things that happened. Maybe you were a victim of trauma or something else, things have happened in your life. Coaching starts with the present and it says, what is happening right now? And
Mhm.
how can we look at this thing and then deal with the now so that you can continue on this upward path in the future? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it makes sense to me. I think you summed it up nicely.
Yeah. So I just wanted our listeners and viewers to know that because I think there can be some confusion. And
Mhm.
so I'm not a licensed therapist, but I am a master certified coach. And so I'm not going to replace your therapist. And either are you, and you mentioned that earlier, that you're not replacing a therapist, but you are either augmenting the power or you're saying, here's another modality that might also help you.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit more about your journey in your own awareness, acceptance, and action.
Most definitely. I started the positive intelligence journey. I want to say it was like 2019. I want to say that's when I started the first 6-week cohort. And it definitely impacted the way that I saw different things I encountered in my life. And at the time, I was planning to leave corporate America. And the judge within me said it was impossible. How are you going to do this? What does this even look like? And I became hypervigilant. I became rational. Like I was a stickler. I was a controller. All of these things were showing up for me. And as I worked through the 6-week program, I started to work on mental fitness. I started to feel better about my decision-making process. And I just moved forward. And fast forward to now, of course, 2023, when the opportunity came around to take the advanced portion of the program, I figured, why not? It was definitely very helpful in regards to me making that transition to leaving corporate America. And I've been out of corporate America going into 3 years now. So it's definitely been, like I said, a tremendous help for me. I'm loving everything I'm learning from an advanced level, to be able to communicate things with my clients in an effective manner, because I have all of the materials now, has definitely changed my client base. And I'm just looking forward to learning more and more from the program and meeting other PQ coaches like yourself, because you never know what you can learn from someone just in a conversation like we had. Everyone has a different perspective, and you just, for me, I appreciate all of them because there's so much value in it.
Yeah, and I think that's another benefit of the PQ program
Mhm.
is we consider people our allies. We don't
Right,
think of people as adversaries
right,
or as, a threat or anything like that. It's more of, I want to show up and I'm going to show up to you and I'm not going to judge you, because
right,
our we judge ourselves, we judge other people, and we judge things like circumstances, like traffic or rain.
right,
I judge the rain all the time.
right, right.
You can't judge the weather, unfortunately. It just is. So I'm curious about your leaving corporate America, because that seemed
Mhm.
like a really big decision.
Oh, it was. It was. As you mentioned earlier in my bio, I spent 17 years in corporate America,
Mhm.
and I was in the financial industry. I was a trader for a little bit right out of college. And then I went to work at the largest independent broker dealer in the US. I worked there for 15 years. And I started right after I left being a trader. So I was in like right out of college. I can't even remember how old I was, but I was right out of college. And I spent my years um, working through from A to Z. I'll say entry level on up. And when I left, it was a big decision, but I can tell you, as a result of the coaching, and of course the PQ program was a part of that. When I made that leap, Jami, it wasn't any fear. Like,
Uh,
it was done. And I knew that this was something that I wanted to do, and I knew it was possible. And I
mhm.
had to rid myself of all the, inner voices that were unproductive, and just kind of learn how to manage them, because I tell people they don't go away. You just learn how to manage them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when I left, it was, granted, everyone around me was terrified, because I had been there 15 years and they were like, this is your career. I'm like, no, this was my job. My coaching and speaking is my career. And making that transition was the best thing I've ever done. I don't look back on it with regret. I do miss the people, because there's relationships that and you probably can attest to when you were a
Yes,
professor, people you
right.
just enjoy seeing on a regular. But other
Yeah.
than that, being able to coach and work with people on a day-to-day, it makes my heart happy.
Well, that's the point. Make your heart happy, follow the
Yeah,
bliss, as Joseph Campbell says.
yeah.
And I think even though you said, it's a career you love, I almost think you might mean calling.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I love what I do every day. It doesn't feel like work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Me either. Me either. I get so absorbed in doing things that I don't think of myself as working. And so I have to look at the clock and say, okay, I should probably stop for the day.
right. I have that same problem. I set alarms to say it's
Uh-huh.
time to log off.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard because I'm loving it so much, but I don't miss anything about corporate America beyond those personal relationships that I cultivated along the way.
Yeah. I have to say, I don't miss the drive because I had quite a bit of a drive, and I don't
Right.
miss having to get there at exactly 8 o'clock or
Ah,
by a certain time. And I had to punch a time clock. And
right.
there were so many things that you have to do. And if you're a couple minutes late, you have to rush, or, it just adds up to a little bit more stress than I wanted.
Absolutely. I can attest. My last 5 years, I traveled 60 to 70% of the time. So I lived on someone else's agenda.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't like it. Granted, it afforded me the opportunity to meet some pretty awesome people,
Mhm.
but I was still on an agenda. I couldn't say, well, Jami, I'm in your town. Let's get a cup of coffee. Because if something happened at the airport, that would throw off my entire schedule. So that was the part that I just didn't like. I didn't feel like I had adequate time to cultivate deep relationships.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that. And when you are in town, when you're in the New Haven, Connecticut area, please do let me know so we can grab
Oh,
a coffee
most definitely.
and maybe we could splurge and eat lunch.
I know.
Doesn't have to be just coffee. So,
Right.
well, this has been really wonderful. I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your experience, strength, and hope about the AAA awareness, acceptance, and action. And God bless you and bless that client of yours. And may there be many more like her.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you have an amazing day.
Thank you. And just to let everybody know, my show notes will be in the chat as well as Demetra's contact information. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you at the PQ Gym.